Hello, it's Chantel, and I'm going to talk to you today about Greek art. We're going to start back with some pieces from Crete. This is an example of the Palace of Minos in Knossos, Crete. It's a fascinating, beautiful work of art. The Crete columns are really pretty fascinating. They're tapered down at the base, so they're wider at the top, narrower at the bottom, which is very standard for this um, old Crete um, architecture style. There were throughout the palace. It's this exquisite palace, but there were murals and frescoes all over the place, depicting a variety of things. And this is one of the frescoes found in the palace. It depicts an athletic event, and there were several references to this event wherein they would jump the bulls. It was a different kind of bull fighting, but they didn't fight against the bull. They actually, would go into the ring and they would springboard off of the bull and jump over it. And yeah, it's a pretty fascinating look into an athletic event there. Um, Also, in Crete, we found several examples of these figurines. Some people refer to them as a Minoan snake goddess, or some people think it's a priestess with snakes. Again, we don't know exactly what this is depicting, whether it's a, a religious figure or, somebody who did this in a ceremony or for some practice. But again, there are paintings of this figurine and several different variations of this same figurine with the long layered skirt, the bare breasts, the open shirt jacket piece, um, the hat with an animal on the top, and a figure with these snakes. This is from about 1600 BCE. Um, Here's some pictures of some storage jars from Greece. Um, there were a whole lot of these jars found around Greece. They were used for carrying water, for carrying oil, for storing things in. They were a pretty standard feature in all homes, and they were beautifully painted. And they used the sgraffito process to scratch off a layer of clay to show the clay underneath. And many of them show stories and legends and symbols from mythology. So this is one from the Attic period, from about 530 to 510 BC. Um, and yeah, it's very, very common to see these in ancient Greece. And you'll see more of them in the video of Greece in 18 minutes. This is also from a vase, another depiction. So instead of scratching away the red clay to expose the black, this is scratching away the black clay to expose the yellow clay underneath. We had some freestanding sculptures. These sculptures are referred to as the Koros sculptures. There are many of them. Koros basically just meaning, you know, a freestanding male nude. Uh, and this is an ancient Greek sculpture. It's from an archaic period. Um, this one is from about 570 BCE. This is from about 530 BCE. These Koros figurines, the archaic style, you can see the face has this kind of smirk and is very flat and stylized. And the posing in many of the Koros figures are this style. This one is kind of unique because he's doing something different. But these all standardly have like 1 foot front, 1 foot back, and are in this kind of stationary pose. This is an example of the discus thrower. It's actually a reconstructed Roman copy of a Greek original. We actually have quite a few Roman pieces that are um, copies of Greek pieces, and some of them it's just the Roman one that exists. But we know this was modeled after a Greek sculpture. Remember, the Greeks are the ones who created the Olympics, and so that sort of athleticism and athletic games were very important to the ancient Greeks. You can see that these sculptures depict the male nude form, but in a very idealized sense. Um, you know, that they're in their peak perfection in these sculptures. This is a picture of a bronze that was found off the coast. It was actually found in the water outside of Greece, and they call it the Artemisian bronze. It comes from about 460 BCE. It's 6 foot 10 tall, and some people have said that it's Zeus and that he's throwing his lightning bolt, and that the lightning bolt was made out of something else or was made as a separate piece, and so it no longer exists. Um, Other people think that it's Poseidon throwing his spear, and so without the spear or the thunderbolt, we really don't know which of the two he is. Again, like the Arcadian sculpture, we're missing the eyes, which probably would have been inset. This was also made through the lost wax bronze process. These are some sculptural friezes from the Parthenon in Athens, made out of marble. And these go all the way around the Parthenon. And we'll look at the Parthenon a bit in the architecture section. So this is from about 437 to 432 BC. Again, on a lot of these sculptures and pieces, we think of them as all white because that's what they are now, or white and slightly colored. Really, we have found some of these pieces with paint, and we believe that they were pretty brightly colored, like almost Technicolor. Um, yeah. Which includes like this piece. We think of the Venus de Milo as a white sculpture because that's what it is now, but it's very likely that she was heavily painted and very brightly colored. So this is the Venus de Milo from about 130 to 100 BCE. Another Greek sculpture. Again, you can see that her body form is very idealized, very smooth, very stylistic, and expressing the Greek ideal. The Greeks liked to aspire to perfection, and the artists didn't want to portray many things that were less than perfect in their mind. This is the winged victory of Samothrace, also frequently referred to as the winged Nike, um, showing the goddess Nike. And uh, time has taken a toll on her. We don't have a head on this sculpture anymore. But again, you can see it's quite exquisitely done for a freestanding sculpture, and it shows the folds in the fabric, and is really quite lovely, and it's done in marble. This is also a Roman copy of a Greek sculpture. This is a naked Aphrodite crouching at her bath. You can see though that the detail on this and the precision is really quite fascinating. And this was from about 200 to 230 B or 230 CE, um, and it's very exquisitely done, kind of amazing as a work uh, in marble. And again, you can see it's very idealized. And the last we have from this section is oftenly referred to as the Laocoon group, or Laocoon and his sons. It's another copy of a marble statue that we have lots of record of as existing in the Hellenistic period, and the Romans recreated this sculpture, and this is the recreation. Uh, so the original would have been done about 200 BC, and you can see that not only do we have the idealized forms um, of these figures, that they're human perfection, but there's also a strong dynamic energy to this, trying to depict emotion and feeling and the storyline. I also show you this sculpture because when we get to the Baroque, you're going to see things that are very similar to this. And they say that Michelangelo saw this sculpture. It was found in the Baths of Trajan in about 1506. And the marble work from this period had a strong influence on Michelangelo, and we'll be talking about him later. So, with that, we are finishing up the Greek art section. I'm also going to talk to you about Greek architecture, and there is a video on the Greeks as a whole in like 18 minutes. It's a good overview. And I hope you are enjoying this course and these videos in lieu of a textbook. So, thank you very much.